Hey, welcome back. And today we're talking about the Turbo Everdrive. Not the actual Turbo Everdrive, but the knockoff Turbo Everdrives. And exactly what they're good for, what they do, and the things you might not like about. So, again, this is definitely a knockoff Turbo Everdrive. They work in the PC engine and they work in the TurboGrafx 16. They have a little slide switch on the side, a PCE and TG16 on there. So depending on which system you're plugging it into, you will need to toggle that switch. It did come with an 8 gig card with everything loaded on it. I did not know it was coming with an 8 gig card with everything loaded on it. But to be honest, these things vary wildly in price. Of pick them up on eBay for $60 to $100, or you can pick them up on some questionable Chinese websites for about $15 to $20 if you're willing to wait a couple of weeks for them to come in. Now, obviously, like I said, they market it as an EverDrive and they even put their website, actual EverDrive website, and everything on the back of it. This is not a real EverDrive, so I mean, I bought it knowing it wasn't a real EverDrive. I wasn't assuming that it was, but just the fact that they have some balls putting their actual logo on there on the backside, that I just wanted to see what we got with a cheap Chinese knockoff versus the original. And so far, everything on this works. It works. It works great. I haven't run into any issues with it. I haven't had problems with it loading. Again, like most things, there's no hotkeys to do a reset. So if you want to change games or things like that, got to come up, hit this little button right here, which will kick you out and take you back to the menu. I have tested this on our PC engine and also on the TurboGrafx 16. And again, it's just a little slide switch on the side to switch between the consoles. And it came with everything loaded. So as far as PC Engine TurboGrafx 16, it works great, especially for the price. Because I bought it from China, I was willing to wait, so I got it super cheap. Now, for the downsides, it's super cheap and it's from China. How well is this SD card going to last? I don't know. But I have made a copy of it and copied everything off of it already, so I have a backup. I don't know if that's a real SanDisk card or not. It's hard to tell. The other thing too is this does not work with CD-based games. That you'll have to get a real Turbo EverDrive. I do believe it's the Pro is the one that supports the CD games, which also is ranging, I think, around $200-ish, a little above or a little under. It's been a while since I looked, but that's about where it was floating around last time I actually looked at one of those. And what's the importance of being able to play the CD-based games versus non-CD-based games? And I'm talking on original hardware, not on emulation. Obviously, emulation, you can do things for a lot cheaper, but when you can play stuff on original hardware, it just feels and works so much better because you're getting that nostalgia feeling. I have nothing against emulation. I do it myself. You're missing almost 50% of the game library by not being able to play CD-based games. And that is huge. If you think about, consoles nowadays, that everything's CD-based. Now imagine your digital download versions and your CD-based games were two different things. And you can only have one or the other, and you couldn't do both. That's a big deal. And honestly, on this, that's kind of a big deal. Literally, for the $18 I paid for this and the 6 weeks I waited in shipping, I really don't care. I honestly didn't think this thing was going to work. I didn't think it was going to make it through probably about the 120 hours of playtime that I have on it. But it's held up pretty good, and so far, it's lasted. And you know what? For the amount that I paid for it, when it breaks, I really don't care. and I probably will pick up a real Everdrive at that point in time for it. Just so that way I can play the CD-based games. Right now, I still emulate those. I would like to play them on the original hardware. And I will say the one thing of the actual Turbo Everdrive that does play CD-based games, it does not work on the Duo. And it will not work on a PC Engine or TurboGrafx 16 if you have the actual CD drive attached to the console. It has to be disconnected from it. And that's the only real downside to it. But you can still have it sitting there on the shelf looking at it. It's just more of if you own a Duo, the the actual real one of these that does the CD-based games as well, won't work on it. They do list that up on their website. Anyways, that's just kind of a quick rundown of the knockoff Turbo Everdrive and kind of the pros and cons. Like I said, the biggest con is the lack of CD-based games, and you're really losing about 50% of the library by not having those. Anyways, we are North Pole Retro. Check us out at northpoleretro.com. So join our Patreon for giveaways, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for stopping in, and have a good night.